All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're cracking open an incredible guide from Bob Slovic at Virtualization Options LLC, a Colorado-based advisory group. We're going to break down their framework for how our towns, our cities, and our schools can better protect the super-sensitive data they're in charge of. This is a big one, so let's get to it.
I want to kick things off with a number that's, well, it's pretty shocking. 62%. That's the jump in ransomware attacks that hit schools in 2022 alone. This isn't some far-off corporate issue, you know? This is happening in our backyards, to our communities, and that makes this whole topic incredibly urgent.
So who's in the crosshairs here? It's what the industry calls the SLED market. That stands for state, local, and education. We're talking about everyone from your local city hall and police department to your kid's elementary school. These are the folks who hold everything from student report cards to sensitive government records, and the responsibility on their shoulders is just massive.
So how do we get our arms around this? Here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at why these SLED organizations are so under siege. Then we'll lay out a framework for security and dig into the 3 pillars of a secure partner. After that, we'll talk about the human side of things, the people and policies. And finally, we'll tie it all together with protecting our public trust.
First up, the SLED sector under siege. You gotta ask, why them? Why are these public institutions such a huge target? Well, attackers often see them as soft targets. They usually have tighter budgets, fewer IT security staff, but they hold a goldmine of really valuable, really sensitive data.
And this quote from the guide really hits home. It points out that it's not just about losing data. When a public institution gets breached, it chips away at our trust, our confidence in the very systems that run our communities. The fallout from that is huge.
Okay, so that's the problem. What's the solution? Well, this is where the guide from Virtualization Options really shines. It lays out a clear, systematic framework for an audit, a way for our schools and cities to really dig in and properly vet the IT companies they partner with. And a real audit isn't just about ticking off some boxes on a form. It has 4 main goals. First off, you've got to verify compliance with all the big regulations, like FERPA for student privacy. Next, you do a deep dive risk assessment to find the weak spots before the bad guys do. Third, you validate the technology. Does it actually work as promised? And finally, you check their readiness for a disaster, what's called BC/DR.
Now, the full guide, it's got 48 chapters. Yeah, 48. But don't worry, we can boil the whole approach down into 3 foundational pillars. The easiest way to think about it is like you're building a fortress to protect your community's data. Pillar number 1, the fortified infrastructure. Think of these as the actual walls of your fortress. This is all about the physical security of the data centers. We're talking biometric scanners, cameras running 24/7. It's the network security, like powerful firewalls. And it's modern cloud security that's built on a zero-trust model. These are your first, most basic lines of defense.
Okay, so you've got your walls, but what about the guards? That's our second pillar, intelligent defenses. This is all about controlling who gets in and out. It means having things like multi-factor authentication, using smart identity management so people only have the access they absolutely need when they need it, and it's about having advanced tools that are actively hunting for threats inside the system.
And finally, Pillar 3, resilient operations. This is your battle plan for when an attacker actually gets through. A vendor has to have a step-by-step incident response plan. They need smart backup strategies, like having copies of data that are totally offline and can't be touched by ransomware. And of course, a well-tested plan to keep things running.
And a good plan gets super specific. This table explains something called recovery time and recovery point objectives. Basically, how fast you need to get back online and how much data you can afford to lose. And see, what this shows is that a smart vendor knows not everything is a top priority at the same time. Emergency services, they need to be back up within an hour. But older archives, you've got a little more breathing room. It's all about smart prioritization.
So when an incident actually hits, what does that look like? It shouldn't be panic. It should be a process. A prepared vendor follows a clear, structured timeline like this. They detect and contain the threat within hours. Then they investigate. Then they recover. And, maybe most importantly, they spend the next few weeks figuring out what happened so they can make their defenses even stronger. All right, so we've talked a lot about tech, firewalls, backups, all that stuff. But security is so much more than that. We have to talk about people, policies, and partners, the human side of the equation, which is just as important. And this point is so crucial. Security is a team sport.
A vendor can have the most expensive firewall in the world, but if their employees aren't trained to spot a simple phishing email, then you've still got a huge hole in your defense. The security culture of a company matters big time.
This is where the rubber really meets the road, in the contracts. Think of this as your cheat sheet. On the left, you've got the must-haves, clear rights for you to audit them, specific rules for notifying you of a breach. On the right, the red flags, vague language, hiding who their own partners are, or not giving you the right to actually check if they're doing what they promised.
And that brings us to the big takeaway here, protecting our public trust. Because the whole point of an audit like this isn't just to check a box. It's about laying the groundwork for a real partnership, one built on trust and continuous security.
And when we talk about a thorough audit, we mean thorough. This chart gives you a sense of all the different areas the guide's checklist covers. You can see it's a really balanced approach, hitting everything from data protection and access control to compliance and planning for disaster. You really can't leave any stone unturned.
And really, this is what it all boils down to. An audit shouldn't feel like a test you're trying to pass. It's the first step in building a genuine foundation of trust. It's how a community can feel confident that the partners they've chosen are truly responsible stewards of our most important information. So, I'll leave you with a question to chew on. Think about your child's school district, your local town government. They all rely on outside technology partners. The question is, who's watching the watchers? Who is auditing your community's data?